Hello, and welcome back to the Ask the Color Expert podcast. Today's special guest is Maria Fontana. She's a #1 international best-selling author, 20-year entrepreneur, educator, and leading business and salon consultant. She works with extraordinary salon professionals, helping them create more profits with less stress. That's going to be the most serious thing that I say in this entire podcast. Maria, welcome to the podcast.
I love it. Thank you. Yeah, we're not going to be serious today. And that's a very formal introduction. So basically, I'll give you my non-formal introduction. I am a 53-year-old mother of 2 who's been divorced, hit rock bottom, owned 10 salons, had to rebuild myself. The shit hit the fan. I'm still doing hair behind the chair a few days a week. I still deal with crazy clients. I had one this morning who I'll tell you this one, she wanted highlights. She showed me a picture of silver, but she wants no chemicals on her hair. She wants nothing on her scalp. She didn't want to glaze. She didn't want me to put any kind of products on. So I said to her, I don't think I'm the right fit for you. You may need to go someone who doesn't do any of those things because you can't get that color. So guys, I'm real. I'm in your shoes and I get it.
Okay, I just threw up in my mouth when you said 10 salons. I have also done all of the things in this wonderful beauty business that we're in and have loved every minute of it, except having 2 salons at the same time. I really thought it was a great idea at the time. I mistakenly thought I had an entrepreneurial seizure. I thought because I did it once and it was successful and everyone was happy, why not replicate it? At the time, my husband's business, the business he was working for, closed. He was in between jobs. And I said, what a perfect opportunity for us to get a better location. Because at the time, I'm talking probably 25 years ago, retail was huge in our industry and it was the moneymaker, right? So I said, oh, we have this terrible location for location 1. Imagine how, and we're doing really well. Imagine how successful we would be if we were on a main drag in a walking town where people would like wander in on a Friday night going to dinner and pick up a round brush and a blow dryer and hairspray and all that sort of thing. So it was a weak moment. We ended up buying a building literally 5 days later and creating this second location. And what I didn't factor in, it was interesting. I went to a retreat in Canyon Ranch with Beth and Carmine Minardi, as you know, the Minardis.
Oh, I love them.
It was an amazing trip, absolutely amazing. And Carmine was doing laps in the pool and he jumped out of the pool and he started chatting with me and he's like, what's going on? And I said, oh, I'm so stressed. I'm in the middle of building out my second location while I'm here. I really should be home, but I didn't want to miss this. And we started talking shop and he said, oh, can I ask the distance between your locations? And when I told him it was literally less than a 10-minute drive, he got like a little, side tilt to the head. Like he was a little concerned. And I said, what's that face? And he said, I'm just a little concerned that one business is going to cannibalize the other. It's not far enough up. And I was like, where were you when I had this ridiculous idea to talk me out of it? I was already so far in, and exactly what he said happened. So I love that you and I are now in a position in this industry where we've done all the things. We've made all the mistakes. We've not been able to be talked out of our big, bold ideas. We went for it anyway. We learned the hard way. But isn't it so frustrating now as a consultant when you can't save people from themselves?
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, I've failed too. Let's be honest. I mean, that's all part of, if you tell me you're an entrepreneur or a business owner and you've never failed or you don't have struggles, then they're full of shit. You're full of shit. You really don't have a business. Like, I just don't believe it. It is a little bit stressful for me. I always feel though, so many of us, you got to meet people where they're at because I think a lot of the problems we're running into, this is just my thought, Elaine, is it's the Insta everything, the Insta success, the Instagram, and I'm not criticizing any channel particularly. It's just the times that so many people are just showing up online and giving people Insta things, do this, you're going to become rich overnight, or, go out on your own. You're going to, and I'm all for entrepreneurship. I opened my first salon at 19 years old. I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. but I knew I had a vision, a dream, and I was committed. I mean, I was committed. So I think it's really taking care of ourselves personally and looking inside and being like, you know what? Maybe I should listen to someone who's walked this path before me. Maybe I shouldn't buy, into all this insta everything, because there really isn't insta success. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you open a suite or a 40-chair salon. There's a lot of planning, commitment, things you have, money. This is another thing, money. Everyone wants to start a business with no money. Really? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Um, so it is a little frustrating, but I always feel that if you really want to have success in this business or any business, you need to have plan A and plan B, because shit happens. It happens all the time. And you need to have a really good guidance, like a mentor. I know, like, if I needed a mentor, I would look to you for color, but you're the expert in that area. You know what I mean? I would look to someone who has walked that path, made the mistakes already, and want that in my life, like anything else, right? I mean, why would you want to sit here and struggle, or why would you want to do something that's totally can go up in smoke and you're going to ruin your career, your life, for an insta success story? There's no instant anything.
Isn't it so frustrating though? Like there's someone in particular that pops into my mind who she's going through all the same exact stages that I went through, and I was stuck in them for longer than I should have been. And now when I'm through it and I can look back, I've reached out to her multiple times. No, like, hey, pay me to coach, like no money being exchanged. I was just like, look, I see in you a former me, like you are the young version of me right now. And I'm watching you go through every single big idea that you think is so fabulous. And I see how it's going to end. I almost feel like it's an unfair. I have the crystal ball, but she can't see the crystal ball. It's all cloudy on her end. So I'm like, please let me keep you from XYZ. And she's like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, okay, I tried. And my husband's like, why do you do that? You're shooting all over everyone. You're a shooter. And I'm like, because I wish someone would have, Carmine tried to warn me. It was too late when he said that. And I was like, oh boy. And it was in the back of my mind the whole time. And you know what
Yeah.
happened? I cut it off quick. I got there. I was a year in. I was like, he was right. Like I was not, oh, I'm going to prove him wrong and be miserable for 15 years. I was like, oh, this is what he was talking about. This is what he was trying to save me from. I'm going to make a quick exit strategy. What I did not love, Maria, and I don't know if you went through this, if you had 12 salons, I'm sure you've gone through the ringer and back, but selling a salon, I don't think anyone listening right now that has a salon realizes there is no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow with a little leprechaun handing you the gold watch. For me, doing that twice, from trying to exit 2 different salons, it was, I don't want to say impossible because it's always possible, but I've been in the industry 35 years. I know one friend who actually successfully sold a business and actually got paid and went off into the sunset, one in 35 years.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. So I did have 10 salons. Doesn't mean I sold 10. I sold 2. And one of the 2 that I sold tanked because of the same reasons you're saying. It's not that easy. Again, these are all, pot of gold stories, lots of stuff. It isn't easy to sell a salon, especially if you're the salon brand. Now, a lot of people, there's so many people with different opinions in our space. There's so many people with different ideas, and they'll be insistent on things. But the truth of the matter is everyone's situation is different. And you have to look at your situation as it's business. Sometimes and again, some people might be like, oh my God, I can't believe Maria said that. Like, what kind of consultant is she? I have shut the door and fucking walked away and rebooted, because sometimes that's what you got to do. You can't be so wrapped up in your ego that you don't see clearly. So yes, and selling a salon is really hard. I think it's one of the hardest businesses to sell, unless you have a really robotic cookie cutter turnkey operation, which is harder and harder to see nowadays because so many people have gone independent. That's a whole nother topic. It's not that easy. So I think you have to stay focused on your goal and figure out what works best for you. And, I think you'll agree with me on this. Not be afraid to reinvent yourself. I've downsized. I started out 40 people. I mean, I am down to what I call a private boutique suite. You know why? I can control my hours. I still want to be behind the chair. If I want to have one or two people working when I'm not there, I don't want anybody around me. And again, people are like, oh, well, how could you be a business consultant? Because consulting and creating your business, it has to work for you. Not the same people want the same thing at the same time. It has to work for you. So I think that's really part of being successful too in this industry is reinventing yourself, tweaking. If you really want to downsize, you don't want to have a team to lead, then fine. If you love having a team to lead, that's great too. Being honest with yourself and not being afraid to be like, you know what? I'm going to change. I'm going to reboot. I'm going to really do what I want to do. And I'll make you laugh. When I started I called it the small salon concept. I mean, it was just in my own head. I was like, I don't want all these employees. I hate being a leader. I hate managing people. And again, I'm not afraid to say it. That's me. I don't like that. I want to go in, be creative, enjoy. I want to educate. I want to be able to do other things with my other businesses. So I started the smaller salon concept. Who the hell knew? I should have I should have shared it with someone because then it came to like the whole solo salon suite and they're making bank. Okay, awesome. But it doesn't mean what's right for me is right for you or what's right for you is right for me. It's really about honoring ourselves. And don't you think, I think this comes from doing a lot of personal development work. I'm going to go down that route. I think it all comes from really taking care of yourself. Right?
One of the best recommendations for a book on that Canyon Ranch trip. This is funny. So I had never been to therapy. I was, let me think. I was probably in my early 30s when I opened the second location when I was on that trip. I don't remember exactly how old I was, but small kids, you can imagine, you have kids, like busy, very busy, 2 locations, kids, husband, the whole bit. And I'm on what I think is going to be facials and body scrubs and, swimming and doing all the things, fluffer retreat. And then in the list of things that you could choose were like these little lectures and workshops that you could go to on energy. You've done all that kind of stuff. So my girlfriend and I are there, and the way that they worded it, they said, do you have a lot of stress in your life? Do you find yourself being overwhelmed? Like, I was like, yes. So we walk in and it's a whole different area of Canyon Ranch and it looks like very doctor's office-y. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So we walk up to the window and she hands us that clipboard with the form. And I'm like, okay, we didn't have to do this for any of the other class. Like, I'm getting totally freaked out. So we fill it all out and I walk in and there's this, guy with crazy Kramer looking hair. And he says, take a seat on the couch. And there's a box of tissues. I'm now in therapy. And it was like an accidental thing. Like, I would never have signed up for that at that age. I was not ready for any of, be told what's wrong with me, all of those things.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. I said, oh, I'm sorry. This was a mistake. I thought I was, and he's like, well, you're here now. And, basically we're charging you for it. So have a seat, get comfortable. I was like, so fight or flight, like, get me the hell out of this room. I don't know who this weirdo is. Like, what is going on? How did I get here? So he's like, I said, I don't even know how this works. I don't even know what to say. And he said, well, when you read the description, it said, do you have stress, blah, blah, blah. Tell me what brought you to that? Like, what did you think you were going to hear? And I said, well, it was like the Hoover Dam just burst. The mouth opened. It never stopped moving. The tissues are flying out of the box. The tears are pouring down. And I'm telling him that as I'm opening the second location, which was due to open a week after it didn't even open yet. But the stress of just the thoughts of another location and the reaction of the existing staff, like, oh, we're not good enough. You have to have a second family, mommy, and that kind of thing. And it was just like, I felt like olive oil in the Popeye cartoon getting pulled back and forth. And I'm just unloading and unloading and unloading. At the end, he said, and he just listened. And he said, well, what would you do if you had no fear and you knew you couldn't make a mistake? What would you do? And I said, oh my gosh, I would 100% exactly what you said. lock the door the first place, walk away, never go back, not even think about it, not try to sell it, nothing. I just want it to be, that was my
Mhm.
childhood in the industry. That was where I cut
Yep.
my teeth. And now this is like the everything that I always wanted to be. And
Yeah.
he said, well, that's exactly what you're going to do. And I looked at him like, easy for you to say, blah, 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 blah. And he said, I want you to find this book. Everywhere you are, there you are, something like that. You are
Hmm.
everywhere you are, something to that
Hmm.
effect. I don't know the exact, I can look it up on Amazon, but I was like, okay, like whatever, what the hell's that all about? And I
Yeah.
got the book and I read it and I was like, I'm the problem. That's what this book is saying. Like, I can't run away from myself. I can
Mm.
close a business and walk away from everything thinking that that ended all of my issues. But until
Mhm.
I am open to doing things a different way, I'm following myself onto this next location. And to your point about closing the first location, because it was successful, I think
Mhm.
people get it. Like right now, COVID was like the big parachute pull for so many businesses that wanted
Mhm.
to end, but the ego got in the way. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to be a quitter.
Yes.
I'm not, I don't
It
want to
gave
act
them
like
an
I
excuse
failed.
to
It gave
finally honor their soul. That's what it did.
100%, 100%. So I just did it. Like we were left on a high note. It was like Friends, last episode, everybody still likes us.
Yeah.
We're going away.
Oh, I've done it many times. Sure.
So the whole buzz in the neighborhood, because it was a very tight knit community,
Hmm.
as you know, you're the same way where you're from,
Hmm.
and everybody knows everybody. And
Hmm.
everybody would be whispering, I'd go to church and everybody would be whispering and pointing. And my friend was like, doesn't that bother you? I said, no, because I'm happy. They don't live my life. They're not in there
Hmm.
every day doing the things. And I'm like, let's face it. And this was back when the OJ Simpson thing happened. I said,
Hmm.
OJ murdered his wife and he's on a golf course right now. I think next week something else is going to happen and people are going to forget all about me and my little salon. And that's exactly what happened.
Absolutely.
So once you have that brave moment to stick up for yourself,
Hmm.
everything all of a sudden is easy. But you don't, if you never take that bold, big leap to take
Hmm.
care of yourself and you let your ego rule you, you're just always going to be filled with trauma the rest of your life. It's
Yeah.
like a never ending cycle.
Yeah. And for anyone, listening or watching, and, I've been there, you've been there. I was stuck in my life. I mean, I was stuck. I didn't know that I had to work on myself. I didn't know what the word heal meant. I didn't even know that these things were, I didn't know what the word boundary meant. I knew nothing. I fell into therapy by accident too. And I will tell you something, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because if I didn't start the journey of healing and working through all the bullshit and changing the family karmic pattern and just changing like my whole pattern of how I would react to things, what I allowed in my life, what I didn't allow in my life, I couldn't be sitting here right now having this conversation with you, calm as a cucumber, in the afternoon, sitting in my living room, enjoying like my new puppy, having like my life the way I want it. Yeah, does shit still happen? Of course it does. Like I had like the worst October of my life. Like my dog died a week later, my dad died. But you know what? If I didn't take care of myself and do all this healing work and know how to cope with these things and process it, I might be under the covers right now, not talking to you, because that's what Maria 25 years ago would have been doing, or I would have been eating myself into oblivion or smoking myself into oblivion. I mean, what something? I would have been doing something. You
Yeah, I
know,
love that you brought up. I'm sorry about your dad and your dog.
oh,
I
thank
also
you,
lost my
Angel.
dad recently. And then
Oh,
my family
sorry.
was just here visiting. They just left a
Oh,
couple hours ago. And we've lived in Florida for 3 years. They finally just came for a visit.
wow.
And again, do you make other people happy or do you make yourself happy? My husband snores like nobody's business, like a freight train. And we have had separate bedrooms for probably 10 years, the last 10
Mhm.
years of our marriage, and we are tickled pink. And now that we're in Florida, we have basically separate apartments. Like I have an entire wing to myself, and so
I
does
love
he.
it. I
So when
love
they
it.
came to visit, I was like, oh crap, we have to sleep together because we had to make room for everyone. So that was the big running joke the whole time. So he came in and it was absolutely awful. I didn't sleep not 10 minutes.
Oh,
And my mom, or was it my niece? No, my mom. My mom said, I could hear him snoring across the house. Like she could hear him from my room to her room. So suddenly they got it, but it took them hearing him snore to believe that we do really love each other. We do still have sex. We're not, you know what I mean? Like everyone's like,
Yeah.
oh, they're just like
Yeah.
staying together for the kids. Like our kids are
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
gone. We're
The
empty
judgment,
nesters.
the family judgment starts.
Total,
It's like,
total, like the whisper down the lane. I'm like, no, we're like conjugal. Do we go into your place or mine? Like whose sheets are we
yeah.
dirtying tonight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's
Where are we go?
funny.
Exactly. Well, I have sort of
So
something similar. My husband and I, like, he travels to Italy a lot. Our family's there. So a lot of times people like, oh, I don't understand. Her husband like goes to Italy all the people just love. And I'm like, listen, if you mind your own business, and that's a sign
exactly.
too, again, and I know you're on board with this, Elaine. Anyone struggling with judgment, remember, if you're so consumed with people judging you, it's simply because you're judging yourself. So learn
100%. It's
to
the mirror.
release that. Yeah. Look in the mirror and learn to release and be like, what is it that I need to work on that I am so concerned about? You know, I had a meeting I was saying the other day with a woman, and she called me out. She's like, well, I don't know if I want to be on your podcast. I noticed you use foul language. I'm like, yeah, I fucking curse a lot. I do. I go, but if you're not comfortable, that's okay. I understand. I'm not going to filter who I am for you. It's okay. You don't have to like me, follow me, work with me, cut your hair down by me. I have great friends like you, Lee. You know what I mean? Like your people will resonate to you. And it's so freeing. And this
It
is in
really is.
business, right? In life, in love, with your route, with everyone. It's so freeing to honor
I had a
yourself.
girl come work at the salon when we opened the new location. We were trying to be like the top luxury and so
Mhm.
proper and minding our
Yeah.
P's and Q's and all that stuff. And I did really good for about probably 8 months. And then I started to get more comfortable. Clients had come a couple times. I was starting to slowly let out, who I really was
Mhm. The real you.
and the real me. So these two women were sitting in the same room with me, but not in my chair. And I was sharing a story with my client
Mhm.
about a friend of mine. And it was like, not ridiculously talking about like details, but it was a very sex centered, conversation and
Mhm.
a funny, funny story. Like anyone who's not uptight loves this story. It's really fun.
Okay.
Basically, she got roofied when we were in Miami and was like practically masturbating at the table at the restaurant, because she was out of her mind. And we didn't know that she got, it was crazy, but it's a funny story. No one got
It is
hurt. No one,
funny.
no babies were harmed or dogs or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah. No one was harmed in the making of this
no one
video.
was harmed in the making of the story. And the whole salon is like crying, laughing. And these women, you could tell were not laughing and they were very uptight. So it was
Okay.
only a matter of time. About 3 days later, I get this typed anonymous letter, where the
Because back in
envelope
the
was
day, people would
typed,
type you a letter. They wouldn't give you a Google review. They would like type you a letter.
typed letter. And it was that they just loved their stylist so much. And
Mhm.
it's unfortunate that she chose to work for and with me. And
Yeah.
that if,
Okay.
if not for their relationship with the stylist, they would not be coming back. They were so offended by the conversation and blah, blah, blah. And I was beyond devastated. Like this was, again, 25 years ago.
Mhm.
Today, I'd be like, really out.
Yeah. Sorry.
But I was a people pleaser then,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my God, I was crying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I really read the room. Like, I really thought that these people could handle that story. It wasn't really that bad,
Mhm.
and it wasn't
Right.
about anybody there. It was about a friend who
Right.
knows I share
It
the
wasn't
story. It
just
wasn't like
right.
we were talking about anybody behind their back. So I like buttoned up again and was super boring and wasn't myself. And this went on for like another month. And my staff pulled me into a meeting they, created. And they said, do not, whatever this person is that you're trying to be because of those two women that are uptight, we like you more than them. And we love your stories. And so do 99.9% of the clients love it. And that's why they come here. Don't
Yeah.
change who you are, what you're saying, what you're all about for those two women. She's like, I don't care if they don't come back. And I don't want people listening to this and be like, oh, you can come in with, your toenail polish chipped and, shorty shorts and, no
No, that's
makeup
a
and hair
different
in a
topic.
clip. Like that's a
Right,
totally different thing. But I
right.
was trying to make myself what they wanted me to be. And it was
Mhm.
only a matter of time before I would have been so miserable. I would have lost
Yeah.
clients because they could read my energy that I wasn't really feeling
Well, and
like myself.
you would have lost your passion too. So this is, I think, another thing that a lot of stylists and people in our industry are suffering with. It is imposter syndrome. It is, and that's a new name that's been given to it. It's basically feeling like you have to be like everybody else.
Yeah.
It's basically filtering yourself to show up in a different way. Again, one of the top, and I'm going to bring this into a business perspective. One of the first things I tell people when they start working with me is to figure out what their magic is. Your magic is you, your personality, your vibe, your energy, what you love, how you decorate, how you dress, what you smell like, the jewelry you like, the kind of clothes you like. That's all part of your magic. And then, of course, your skill set, how you deliver things to people, what that experience is like for people. You are going to attract perfect clients, perfectly aligned for you. If it's in a salon chair, if it's in a consulting chair, if it's on an online course, again, be real. When I started my journey into the online world, I was so afraid of being real. But when I look back on my videos, I think to myself, I'm proud of myself because I just started being me. And yeah, does there criticism? Yes. Do you become vulnerable? Yes. Do people say fucked up shit about you sometimes? Yes. If you're not going to be authentic, I can't show up and have a conversation and be fake. You want me to be fake? I'm not going to, I can't.
Right.
I can't. I want to talk about reality and be real. And this is what I think the core of any successful salon business is. I don't care if you're a one-man show or a 40-man show. It really is that inner love. It really is showing up honestly for yourself and being true to yourself. And guess what? Not being afraid to change. If today you change your mind and you're like, you know what? I don't really want things to be this way anymore. Well, then just change them. Just change them.
Yeah, I think that's the most frustrating thing to witness with any friendship, any family member, anyone around you, when you can see that someone is trying to burst out of that cocoon and become the butterfly. You can just see it. They're like so
Mhm.
close, but it just feels so uncomfortable because of what they've
Mhm.
always been taught.
Mhm.
I feel like the world that COVID, the whole business that we are in has been in turmoil for a really long time. There's been a lot
Yes.
of need for these changes, but
Mhm.
COVID just magnified everything.
Mhm.
Michael Cole has been telling us since the 80s to save
Mhm.
$5 a day for that emergency fund. How many people actually
Absolutely.
did it? How many
Right.
people were not caught with their pants down when COVID hit? And it's like, oh my
Right.
God, they're telling me I can't work. Like, when have you and I have been alive? We've never been told we weren't allowed to open our salon and work. Like,
Mhm.
that was some crazy shit that went
Right.
down and
Right.
nobody was prepared for it. And
Right.
then there's so many misappropriated pay structures. You have
Mhm.
salons saying, oh, it's booth rent, but it's really 1099. We're really supplying their supplies and we're answering the phone and we're telling them what time to be here. And there's so many gray areas there. And then
Yep.
those people suffered because they didn't get the aid because they weren't set up properly.
Correct.
So it's like, don't report your taxes so that you can to keep all the money, but then you can't get a car loan, you can't buy a
Right.
house. Like,
Right.
everything just, it was like this huge light was just shining on our industry, like, guys, get it together. And I
Yeah.
still see it. I see people saying, I see these bills for my credit card, the money they're charging me, I'm going to start charging the client. I'm like, you can't do that. It's against the law, but people are doing it.
Mhm.
They're putting
Well, there's a
ATM
lot of
machines in
app.
their salon saying cash only. And
Yeah.
it's so obvious why
Yeah.
they're having that in there.
Yeah. Well, what's going to happen is this. So I think there's always going to be this divide. I always say there's like a divide in the industry. There's who's going to choose to continue to be a martyr and not want to really step into being a professional. Okay. It's like, let me go to, I don't want to like sound like I'm being like nitpicking any kind of country. Let me go to a South American country and get a tummy tuck because it's cheap. Now, I'm not saying that I'm just making a statement. But someone who's not licensed, doesn't use anesthesia, I'm probably going to get a disease and die, but I'll save some money. Or let me go to a regular surgeon who is accredited, who is in a hospital, where my odds of getting an infection and dying are somewhere. And I know this just came out of my ass. I don't know where I got this example from, but that's just what came to mind.
Are you trying to tell me I need a tummy tuck? Is that why you felt inspired to go down
I've been eating carbs like I need a tummy tuck for real, but I just need to stop eating. Anyway, so the point is this: it's, guys, all of you salon people listening, take your business seriously. Be the surgeon, the top-notch surgeon. Show up for yourself in your business, file your taxes, do everything, run a business, get a CPA, hire a mentor. I do something now, Elaine. I do a 6-week mentorship because I was so sick of hearing people like, I don't have the money, I can't invest, I'm afraid. And again, this is new in our industry. If you can't invest like $2,000 to work with a high-level consultant to change your business for 6 weeks, then you shouldn't be in business. And a lot of people will be like, oh, you're a bitch. How could you say that? But it's the truth.
Pay now or pay later is the simple way to explain that. You're going to pay later by the mistakes that you made. So you might as well.
Yeah. So step into being a professional. Let's change this industry. Like, it breaks my heart. I am so passionate that you need to be a professional. Let me tell you, I never was just a hairdresser. I'm a top-notch businesswoman, and so should every other person. If you're self-employed or not, if you're behind the chair, you are a specialist. You are a surgeon. You are the best of the best. But conduct yourself that way. Respect your craft. Treat yourself like you're in corporate America. Stand in that energy. Invest in yourself. Love yourself. All of that reflects back in your income. All of that reflects back. People come into my salon. I have a giant poster. I have all the stuff I've ever accomplished on my wall. I just hit #1 international best-selling author. Am I bragging? Sure I am, because that's a big fucking deal. You know why? Because I was just a hairdresser. What, you think I can't? Get the hell out of here. So, again, own your magic. Own your magic. And plan B, I'm going to go back to, I could talk to you all day, like going back to the subject of when COVID hit. I think all salon professionals should have a plan B. You should have money saved and a plan B. I'm sure you, and I know my plan B, I have automated online courses. I have a consulting business. I'm remarried, but I still consider myself a single mom because my ex-husband doesn't help me with my kids. So I do it all. I pay for college. I pay for my house. I pay my mortgage. I pay my bills, car payments, blah, 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 blah. I'm the breadwinner, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. So without that plan B, I would have been up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
Without paying into my W-2s, without filing my taxes correctly, I could not collect unemployment. Without filing my taxes correctly and doing everything I do, I could not have workman's comp if I got hurt. And the list goes on and on and on and on, as you know. Yes, cash is great, but it's not the 80s anymore.
Right.
I've seen some salons, they do, they have a cash discount special. All right, maybe that's okay, because you tell people, listen, if you want a little bit of a, give them a certain flat, but make it very clear. Don't be shady.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. It's everything is changing. And I agree with the penny wise, pound foolish that you're talking about with, lack of, I can't afford to hire a consultant. I can't afford to go to advanced education classes. I'll see on the forums every single day, tell me where I should go and watch videos free on YouTube. And I'm like, that's fine. But until you actually go to a class where you come away from it and how to do whatever it was that you learned, that investment is going to come back the next day. I mean, literally the next day when I come back from learning something new and I do it in the salon, and it reinvigorates me. I'm re-inspired. I'm passionate again. I'm excited. I'm not like going through the motions on autopilot.
Oh yeah.
It comes right back tenfold into my pocket. And it makes me sad when I see people doing things the same way they were taught right out of beauty school, because they think it's good enough, but they're
No, right.
charging $22 for a haircut in 2021. You know what I mean? Like you're never going to get
Mhm.
to that next level of income if you don't step up your education and your craft. It's an
Yeah.
ever ongoing thing that there's always something to learn. I mean, I go to probably 15 different things a year and I'm not even behind the chair. I just don't want to miss anything. I
Yeah.
never want to miss
Yes.
anything.
Well, I
So
invested myself um, in technical, because I love new. I want to always bring stuff back. I still am behind the chair part-time because I enjoy it and I want to be. Um, but the clients love it. So anyone that thinks that you can't, investing in yourself is a waste or you can't do it, people love to see you grow and make things better. Don't let people fool you. And if your client base is not looking to grow and invest in themselves, then you might be attracting the wrong clients. You might need to reevaluate your whole business structure. I invest in myself personally. I have a healer, I have a therapist, I do all kinds of personal development work on myself. I invest in my business growth. Like the minute you stop learning, you're done. I can't serve you, the client behind the chair, in my chair, the client who I'm consulting with, or my personal life if I don't constantly invest in myself. And guys, you piss money away on Starbucks, on this, on that, on bullshit online, on games. Just
exactly.
just reevaluate what you're doing. There's so many
Exactly.
great people who could help you. I know a few people that we're friendly with who are experts in finances when it comes in our industry. If you need, reach out to us. We'll refer you out to them if you need to talk about the financial stuff. Right?
Absolutely. So on that note, how can people reach you, Maria, if they're inspired and ready for a kick-ass
Yeah.
consultant?
Yeah, if you want to like work with me, I have, like I said, the 6-week mentorship. It's very super affordable. It's quick, easy, and we get shit done. You could just reach out to me. MariaFontana.com is always easy. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at Maria Fontana Consulting. You can just Google me. I'm all over the place.
That's awesome. Well, you and I could go on for hours and hours, and
Oh
I'm
my
sure you'll
God,
you'll be
yes.
back again for part two. But this has been an
Yeah,
absolute pleasure. I love chatting with you, and I hope
I love
everyone
chatting.
listening can hear how much fun we have because we've ditched the ego and
Mhm.
we have some experience. We've been there and back, and we realize that we stressed out and worried all for nothing, and that life is what you
Yeah,
make it, and it's all about choices and
yeah,
just make your life everything that you want it to be, because nobody really cares in the end. It's all about
that's
what
right.
makes you happy.
That's right. You're alive today. Invest in you and live in joy and abundance, man, because that's all there is. It's a journey. So
Yep.
make the best of your journey and stop being a martyr.
Awesome. I love that. Mic drop moment. Thank you, Maria. And we will see you all on the next one.
Okay. Love you, Lane. Thank you.